7 astronauts on the Space Shuttle Columbia are dead.
Their mission was almost complete, and we lost them so close to home. The men and women of the Columbia had journeyed more than 6 million miles and were minutes away from arrival and reunion.
The catastrophe that has resulted in a deadly fireball over Texas is one of NASA's worst failures. Hours after the disaster, NASA calls upon a retired Navy admiral with no axe to grind to conduct an inquiry.
We are going to work with the NASA officials.
Hal Gaiman starts to pick through the evidence. The investigation centers around the issue of the foam hit. Could mere foam have caused such a devastating breach? After 5 months of debate and speculation, they rig up a test.
3, 2, 1, 0.
We fired a 1.7-pound piece of foam at about 500 miles an hour at the lower part of panel number 8 that had been taken off one of the other orbiters. So it had a flight history just exactly, or as close as we could, to that of Columbia. We fired that piece of foam, and it blew a hole 16 inches in diameter. There was a audible gasp from the crowd. The astronauts who were with me, one of them said, "So this is what really happened."
It was clear that the speed of the hit had transformed the lightweight foam into a deadly missile.
At 82 seconds after launch, the shuttle is moving very fast, more than 2.5 times the speed of sound. When the foam fell off, it began to slow down because it is very light. The difference in the speed of the foam and the speed of the shuttle at that point was about 500 miles an hour. So in a sense, the shuttle ran into the foam.
There was now no doubt what caused the tragedy.
Instead of a period behind our findings, we had an exclamation mark.
When Gaiman's report came out, heads rolled at NASA. In particular, he criticized the organization and its poor communication and casual risk assessment.
Process that we follow at all of our press conferences. I have a short.
The shuttle program management was unsafe. They couldn't manage anything safely. They couldn't manage a bus line safely, much less a shuttle, because of the way they were organized.
3 top managers were removed from the shuttle program.
There are some people who did the wrong things. They conducted serious discussions in the hallway. They didn't request detailed information. They made decisions based on flawed thinking. It didn't hurt me yesterday, it won't hurt me today. And those individuals now are no longer part of the program.
The ground team broke its covenant with the astronauts. That covenant is that when we put you up in space and while you're up in space, we will do everything we possibly can to ensure your safe return. And that they did not do everything that they could to ensure the safe return of the Columbia.
But could anything have been done to save the lives of the 7 astronauts aboard Columbia? There was no onboard toolkit, so repair would have been impossible. Scientist G. Scott Hubbard thinks a rescue could have been attempted.
This country has done incredible things to rescue people over the years. It would undoubtedly have been a decision at the highest levels to pursue this, because what if the next orbiter had the same foam problem and on launch another hole was created? You would have to weigh a huge set of contingencies and problems and issues against each other. But the answer we came up with was, it is in principle possible for a rescue mission.
Since the Columbia disaster, astronauts do mandatory spacewalks to inspect the shuttle's hull for damage, as well as a video inspection. If they find damage, there is now a toolbox aboard to fix basic problems. For the 7 aboard the Columbia on the 1st of February 2003, these reforms came too late.
The whole time I was growing up, as long as I can remember, anytime anyone asked me what I wanted to be, it was, I want to be an astronaut.
And when you talk to these people who are pretty old today, and you tell them that you're going to be in space, they look at you as a dream that they could never have dreamed of.
There's always the potential for something going wrong. You know, we try not to think about those things.
Leroy Kane remains a top NASA flight operative. He believes that if he or the crew had known about the hole in the wing, it would have been worse. The end for the 7 astronauts was at least mercifully quick.
The difference would have been that we on the ground and the crew on board